if they can sort of circumvent what was the start off here for BDS and this opening half, it might be a little bit of a story that carries well into their favor. It's gotta be, really, for the fact that Heroic have obviously pulled their 3 points. Wolves are still yet to play today. Rogue needs something to try and just leap over a team at this point and not suffer only teams leaping over them.
Yeah, they want to make sure they find themselves in a good position at the end of the day, and that just requires you to take 2 or 3 points here against BDS as we speak. And as Thatcher is to be removed first, it is the Florist to be taken out of the BDS hands. They know they are big fans of the operator. I mean, Alems has said it in the past. He thought it was the best attacking operator in the game at that moment in time. So removing that is definitely going to be some sort of help, especially if you don't like to play it yourself. Mira might provide for some difficult moments here and there, force you to play Twitch to try and get rid of those mirror windows, and finally to look it all off the Wamai. It's only really the Jaeger and potentially a Rooney to stop grenades from coming through.
Yeah, well, I mean, all these bans generally make sense.
It makes sense.
BDS don't really throw themselves out too much in terms of ban specifics. They'll sort of remove what they don't want to play against. As I said, you know, occasionally you'll see these very specific target bans against Rogue at the minute. When the team comes off winning a major, that's usually what happens. This time, not so much. And this time, well, let's see how much this is paying off here for BDS. Last 2 times these teams technically met, both of them went the way of Rogue, and I think both of them were in OT as well. Yeah, Bank and Skyscraper with the previous 2 maps. So BDS, they have a bit of a point to prove.
They do have a point to prove. However, if you look at statistics, for example, CGG, there's 2 of the players of BDS currently who are averaging out on 12 kills per game. Of course, Likafak and Shaiko, both very big impact in most of the games. And you kind of have to hope, if you're Rogue, that one of them will have a bit of a quieter day here today, because you can really not afford, if both of them are going to be at the top of their game, it's going to be very difficult to get rid of it. Quick, Goyo canister placed onto the blue door to stop any quick rush from happening, as there is quite some players from BDS offside.
Okay, what's the tell and what's the score, and what have you learnt from an Oregon that has twice been taken out of your pockets? 2 times the charm, Rogue. Well, let's see how charming you can be. Very quickly picking up onto the operator I talked about before. Amaru is in the pockets of Deepak. They can use this to strike fast and fear into the hearts of a lot of teams that go up against them. They're not going to be the intense lead-in. They don't use it as an entry statistic, but more as a point of preference. When they'll get an idea on a player's location, they'll start to bring a little bit of a furor and force here. Kanto, he's cracking and crashing his way around. There's the player at the top of the white stairs. There's the one just tucked into the server. And they know that they're being watched, and at this point they're just going to pull themselves back in, see if they can try and find a route out potentially.
Extra windows being opened up as Deepak finds himself deep into the green hallway. Deals a little bit of damage towards the limbs, but nothing too major. A double drop from the attic hatch coming through. Deepak just pulling out the backpack right there, is trying to go for a bit of an engagement, but Keeper Barrier will be locking that one off.
Cryin in the meantime gets the opener there, and Shiro goes down. The fight's happening all across the board. Likafak, he's able to get himself rotated round into Classroom. Shaiko was watching the top of the stairs as well. There is one player tucked into the corner of Zulu, but they're not quite going for the swing just yet. Droning their approach, droning themselves ahead, being a little bit apprehensive, and once again, a BDS player is forced back towards the site with bullets trailing their route. Alems finds Leon, though, in the meantime, pulls some of the balance back in, locked inside Freezer, a power position they play very well as the attention starts to come down from those stairs. Rogue were looking for a lot of fights. BDS picked up on that so quick. It was a very clever bit of movement there, and it could not have come a few seconds later without suffering massive consequence.
It's also going to be the Capitao gone, so there is going to be a lack of incendiary bolts and smoke balls that they cannot use now. Need to try and find a different way to provide themselves some security here. So an extra pick would more than likely be helpful for them, as they're just slowly starting to get opened up now.
Wow, Spoit, he's going for a steady approach down. There's a bit of a swing round from the far end of the washroom. They seem to have all the awareness of where this is coming from, and that grenade unfortunately won't go all the way through towards that pillar position. Just to rotate between the corridor and the freezer side itself. Spoit's still holding off. Deepak is the one that's going to rotate his way around, maybe try and draw some attention from elsewhere. Burn something on the far end. That grenade doesn't quite get the catch. It does. No, Alems was close enough, but Playday was even closer. Gets the double with the swing round. Caught in the fire. Likafak's able to catch one of his own, but there's the last. And Playday keeps the lockdown there. The first round goes into BDS's favor.
Proper lock off there from them, even though they started losing some of those players to the grenades. Still plenty of utility down there. Also not really any entry point for Rogue, as the defenders were still spread around. There was not a gap in any of the defenses there. And again, it comes back eventually to taking down Leon gets this early on, right? It's smoke balls, it's incendiary bolts gone. You cannot use them anymore to lock off any of these defending areas.
Attackers need to locate
If you would have come down the freezer stairs, could have shot one towards the rotate on the back of the site, one into the hallway as well. Suddenly you have two very important positions locked off. You can start pushing the freezer as well and into the laundry area. And that shows you how much utility you can just suddenly lose and how much of the plan that can impact.
Prepped with some attention towards tower, hoping that they can maybe utilize some of that pace. We saw Rogue was so close to being able to catch a couple of the BDS players, but just weren't close enough. And that's that sort of difference in awareness that BDS were really missing in their previous split and their previous roster iteration. Whether it's just a sort of change of face and the idea of a new one, either way, Liquefact has really sort of shown what a new player and a bit of promise can promise a team's future. There's a lens set up in the top of T3, gonna draw some attention. That goes into a bit of a scrappy fight, but both guns probably not their best operating range.
No, not for sure. If you manage to find a headshot, it's still going to be an instant kill, but besides that, it would only be some scrap damage. But at least they know someone's going to be up into the top of the tower now, so Deepak will not be using the Gara hook to quickly insert himself out there. Need to find a way to get rid of him, and that will most likely either be completely ignored or to try and get some extra piece of utility around there, as, well, the tower is still quite important as an access point towards the attic, and the attic directly leads into the site itself.
located a bomb.
Getting themselves droned out underneath and opening rotations for later. There is obviously one loose thread right now, and that's down in the basement. It's not the most uncommon place for a player to set themselves up at. Liquefact has 3 options for a rotate if he opts to take them, but his presence down here is one that forces a bit of apprehension. Forces the fear that maybe it's a problem that we can solve later. They might know about his position. It's one of the most common for Aroma. They definitely know of the tier 3 position based on the very early aggression in the fight that happened before. So how are they going to weigh up the catch? That's the game that they're trying to play right now. Or do they even want to? The pressure over towards the double window, the attention paid towards the site. They're sort of trying to force a bit of movement here and see if they can get the player on the wrong end of it.
Can still try and completely ignore it by using these smoke bolts that Leon is carrying. He is close on that double window. He might find himself deep in the corner of the bunks, with Spoit going for a bit of support from the white stairs. If that's the case, Kanto with a beautiful flick into Liquefact here as he tried to open up vertically.
Wow, Spoit, he's trying to drive himself up. The flash is round. The hefty bolt of the sort of setup here of Leon. He's not quite sure where he wants to go. I thought he would pop it round onto the dorm side, but instead Shaiko's been able to slip his way past as Deepak's dropped by a Lems. Now as they rotate their way back round, it's Playday suffering, but there it is. Shaiko strikes, tucked in the corner, and Shira's able to get one of his own, crying. He's trying to find just the end of a fight as Kanto's able to get one more in the fight. He can find it. Trophy is his. 2 kills to tack onto his third before. Suddenly it's 2 versus 2. They have 40 seconds. They don't have the kit. They know exactly where it's dropped, and they know who dropped it. That's always that big worry right now as they try and reposition for a take on it.
Now, both players will be playing right around the dough onto that defense. 1 into the dorms, 1 on the top of the white stairs, having the opportunity to fall back towards a bit of safety. So you need to try and isolate these players. And as Krine is about to be dropping down onto the balcony next to that big window, that will be plenty of information given away. Finds one, finds 2, locks it out. Manages to sneak across with that help presence scanner, stops cameras from seeing you, but also reduces the footstep sound. Drops down, finds a double kill on Rogue. They find a round.
I mean, it was crying from the top ropes.
It definitely was.
Dropping down, getting a double on the double window as well. And, you know, they sort of knew where the rough positioning was of the kit. They assumed where the players might be. They probably expected the fight to sort of be that 2 versus 2, flat across. Trophy wouldn't be the most uncommon sort of take. There, just that silent rotation, that movement to the alternate gives them their first. They're going to double down here, see if they can try and make it stick inside dorms once again. Similar sort of setup, similar sort of line out. Same result. Well, I think that's going to have to be up to the 3 players of Rogue who haven't quite been able to get their teeth into this game yet.
No. there is definitely some you know, players running behind now, and one of them is Spoit. It's a player that you usually do see pop off quite well, is able to put quite some kills on the board for Rogue. But this is something that we have been talking about as well ever since the Major, because before the Major and during the Major, Spoit was a player for Rogue that just entered and made stuff happen. He found a double or a triple kill to open up the side, and the rest of Rogue just flooded in right behind him. Ever since the Major, it's not really the case anymore. He's playing more a bit passive with the rest of the team. It's not going to be that spearhead that's like 20 meters ahead of the rest of the team making that impact. And, well, that might have hurt them a little bit right here. But still, they managed to find the round. Kanto with a great double kill and trophy. And after that, making the noise to provide the distraction needed for Crying to find his double.
Liquefax pulling back. Again, this is the game that BDS played quite well before, is when there's pressure coming, they know when to sort of pull off the gas pedal and try and find themselves a slightly safer place to be. His strike went away from him. Kanto, with the reactions of a player who's held the hammer, was just that right there, and that's a bit of a cruel taste of what Liquefax has done to so many others before. Doesn't mean that he's anywhere near done on this fight itself. They seem to still have a presence on this player, and Crying's going to go hunting. Underneath the slow creep, they've also got some pressure on the opposite staircases as well. They know where the rotations are sort of put together. There's still a silence here. As Crying sits, waits, and holds, but Liquefact does the same. It's now a sort of game of time attrition. Who has more to waste? Well, arguably the defender.
You need to get a drone in here. Crying cannot just phase check everything, and it indeed is coming through. We'll be first passing down towards Elbow Doe. Just want to hold for now. That's a phone call to go off. That is going to be crucial information. That is the leg that spots out first from Kanto inside Freezer. Liquefact now really going to be stuck in his small cubby here.
There it is, the ping, the hammer right behind him. He's opened up inside a kill box. He somehow finds Kanto, goes for the pistol for the second. Doesn't win that one out, though. And he had that little moment there, but Alems is trying to offer a little bit of support. Crying hasn't opted for that rotate. They seem to know that there's always the chance that a bit of pressure and presence coming through it, and Crying's paying keen attention towards that as a route forward, minimizes the angles and ways that could be played against them. You have to give credit to Liquefact for being able to get one out of a situation where he also took 2 minutes from the approach here of Rogue.
It's definitely a big win for him there, as right now the pressure really starts to mount up from the eastern side. Spoit on the top of the armory stairs, about to swing into the games room, the armor trophy room right here. Shaka goes aggressive through the rotation in the breach. We'll find Leon gets. Spoit now receives a bit of pressure from the MX4 Storm, decides to go more aggressive, finds the head. Deepak will find a kill on the other side as well, so it's a 2 and 3 for Rogue.
Kit's cold, but they know where it is once again, and it's much easier to recollect. Renshiro is the immediate stop on it. He's still tucked around, holding close to the angle, and with 30 seconds, he can make sure that it's one that becomes pretty unpassable. They do still have a grenade in pocket. They might be able to try and catch something from underneath, and that's where Crying is going. He's looking for the fight. The angle doesn't quite have it in 15 seconds now, so the only option really is up and through. There's Deepak with a quick bit of pace. He's looking for the engagement. Spoit wins out against Renshiro, and Crying, he's able to find the next Rogue, get 2 rounds in a row, both on dorms.
Important for Rogue to pick up as many rounds as they possibly can onto the attack here before they head over towards that defense. You saw the percentage earlier on the team card where it was like 25% on the attack and 74% on the defense. Really like to prefer one side over the other currently. And if they manage to pick up 1 more round, or maybe even 2 on Rogue, well, BDS could really start to struggle a little bit here for the remainder of this game. So they need to get back into it, and as soon as possible. And to start that off, they head back towards that basement where we just saw a minute to be wasted by Liquefact, as he also managed to pick up a kill. This time it will be decided. And we saw Rogue struggle as they approached from the freezer, they approached from laundry, and had 1 person on the E-box hatch. The pressure was not proper enough, and you can say that it was due to a lack of utility of some sorts. They only carried heart breach charges, there was no heart breacher. That has changed now. Leon died early on with the Capital, which means that those smoke and incendiary bolts could no longer be used. Is that a Cade on the board? It is. So that hatch is going to be more difficult to open up because there's no EMP impacts on the board.
Oui.
Yes, in French, that is.
They do have
didn't know.
the Twitch drones. They do have a chance at sneaking away around. It's a bit of a drive, and it's not the easiest to find your way through to, but Deepak's pretty good with the drone. So I guess we'll see if he's able to try and win out this steady approach from the opposite angle. The first is the drift do. The call that is softed is going to bring a bit of awareness. It's whether the hatch is as well. Might be the second bit. Oh, there's an E1D instantly removed. A Maverick on his drone and just bumped in to an ADS, even on an E1D, obviously. Can't shoot that one out.
No, for sure not. The ADS is definitely going to be a bit of a help if they want to be approaching that take later on. Different angle now for the Twitch drone to come in from. Seeing if he can find some more success here, but Playday is ready with that shotgun. If only one of those pellets hits the drone, it's going to be game over, and will be the case. Oh, nope. Second shot will definitely connect, though. And that means that that K-Claw is not going to be removed, at least not as of yet. A grenade could still do that job.
Yeah, they took a gamble. They tried to sort of just beeline towards it and hope it wasn't being watched from an angle that they could get it past. If they're back on elbow, then you can make that route. If they're on the front, well, that's what happens. So the attention is now going to be paid towards Laundry and Freezer, the way it was as before, as once again. I think there might still be a little bit more presence around onto Tower, potentially. Yep, the drop onto Blue. The folks to try and pull them away. Liquefact is in a position to try and juggle this in case they go against it. Has the claw ready, and Cryan, he wanted a push to come round, just peppered the angle in case he was gifted it. BDS aren't gifting them anything right now.
So Shaiko and Playday playing around elbow, though, so it's going to be quite difficult to remove them as Kenta finds one. Is about to go for the second, but Vincere only takes some shots to the leg. Lives for now. As I think Adrenaline Surge gets called out just to heal back up the players of Rogue a little bit and also provide them a bit of extra pace.
There it is, the flash is over the top. They're seeing if they can try and stick it. Kanto's able to find Renshiro as well. Alems, as I said, is very good in this position on Freezer, keeping his cool, and that's what he's got to do right now. The kid itself is trying to make its route past Liquefact and the smoke work of Playday, another player who's very good in that position. Liquefact knew where he needed to be, and he makes sure it sticks. The second and the C4 caught round the corner. Spoit wins out against the Lems inside Freezer. There is a drop down, and suddenly Rogue have 3 in a row.
Just have to say, it was a very clean double tap onto the staircase player by Liquefact there, but
oh yes,
that was very quick. I didn't know they could fire that fast. And now, Rogue, they found those 3, as you just mentioned, and those are also the 3 rounds. Going 5 could even still be on the cards here for Rogue. We're really finding ourselves in some problematic territory for BDS, who would see themselves fall to second place if this is how the game would end.
I believe, regardless of the result, I think Wolves might be able to push them down on third. They're on 7 points.
I mean, BDS has won every game so far, right? So it's like that they find themselves. They find themselves on the top of the table, regardless, or like top 4 of the table, not.
Oh yeah, there's no way they'll fall out of.
So they're probably not too worried, and this is one of the teams you will play that you expect to go to the major as well, considering they are the major champions. You can afford to lose 2-3 games, and if you lose against the current reigning major champion, that's fine. You don't have to worry about that. But you prefer to win. You prefer to pick up those points and be the first team to qualify yourself for the major from Europe.
All right, Rogue. They've had a moment to talk, so have you, and you've been able to start to right some of the wrongs that people have said about how the attacks have gone for you on this map. I mean, third time's the charm. You have to try and have a lot of confidence about a map if you're willing to go back to it this quick succession after suffering your 2 losses on it, regardless of whether they were overtime or not. Quick direct focus paid now towards this. The first time we're seeing this core sort of hold, this setup and extension on the site round on the ground floor. There's the verticality that needs to be covered and watched by BDS. They have themselves locked in above around dorms. You've got to try and force them out, and that's the attention paid onto White as this might start knocking soon.
Kento quickly checking if there was any PC utility behind him he was unaware of. You never know if there's going to be a Valkyrie cam or something up on the wall. Because they haven't seen at this moment in time yet if there is a Valkyrie. Spoit missed the Gon 6 there, had to punch the barbed wire in the end.
I don't know if he was trying to hit utility that was further up or not, like a Banshee. Oh, well, there's something quick. Here we go, straight into the site itself. They're able to find the strike. There's the down and the drop. In the meantime, there's a second one that leans into Deepek. Cryan's got a kill of his own on Liquefact. They struck within a breath of each other. They're playing around the hatch, but not any longer. A flawless is the response to attack timeout, and that is maybe one of the most put-together attack rounds we've seen from Rogue since the major.
that is a round where everybody knew what they had to do. Everybody knew where to enter, how far to walk, and what angle to pre-fire. And it all starts over with Deepak just yeeting himself in deep into the green hallway, finding the cover onto the person that was holding down the big window from above. And suddenly, like, so much opens up with just a single kill. It's like one piece is removed at the chessboard, and it just opens up like 7 different avenues you can suddenly start exploring.
It's a rogue that we sort of missed.
It is.
As EUL fans, I think everybody from the region took pride in seeing us take pole position at the most recent major, but then we sort of suffered.
Position.
Yeah. First place.
Championship.
Clap, 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 clap.
Lots of claps, lots of cheering, lots of chants coming out as well. Great double kill here.
Harrow knew exactly where he needed to swing to, knew that that door was softed based on the work before, the fact that there was a lot of sort of noise in the audio. Striking like that from 2 different places, it also messes up their comms. You have all the time before that to sort of work on that and say 3, 2, 1, go, and explain what people are doing, and then it's down to BDS to react. They had the right ideas, but it's very different trying to swing into 1 panicked dead player than 2, and here Rogue, as you said, there's the chance of a 5-1, and it's going to be back down on Laundry where it started this map off. BDS's only round win. Will it be their second?
That is very unfortunate to lose Like Fac like that. And that is a free entry kill for Rogue that they do not have to worry about too much. And Lems now has to debate whether or not he will come back towards the site, or if he's going to stay active on that top floor. And he chooses to go for the latter due to the fact that if he finds a kill, he equalizes that scoreline, brings it back to 4-4, and really keeps them into the game. However, if the execute starts coming down onto the direct side, this could be very problematic for them, as it seems like they want to go down the tower stairs.
Oh, there's the drop over the top. They're just able to take the head off the player. Lems was caught out. The camera finally pops into life. And Renshiro now, he's holding himself a little bit aggressively on the stairs. He wanted to see if he could try and get 1 for the money before he had to pull himself back, but now he's got to pull himself back. Rogue, they were gifted a foot in, a lead in, and based on the time that it happened, they knew that they could just try and keep putting pressure on it, see if they could get it logged in. At least the claws were deployed before he was unfortunately separated, so they get some semblance of thanks. But they probably would have preferred to have him alive and kicking.
For sure, they wanted to have him alive and kicking. He's literally one of the top fraggers currently of the European League. The thing is, though, there's EMP impacts on the board now, so they can literally bypass those electro claws that have been placed. As the C4s come out, will not find anything as of yet. It's Spoit that is looking to find themselves an extra entry here.
Well, as a bit of a breach starts to happen over the hatches, a minute left. Shaiko's the one that's now stepped up. He gets blinded and caught out by the first flash. He's hoping somebody swings in for the second, but nobody's currently home. They're instead trying to juggle just whether they think the kit's going to come down. 3 versus 5 is not impossible. Doesn't mean it's easy by any margin though. Renshiro, he's waiting around pillar underneath the hatch itself. He's sort of that stretch in the extension. You can see BDS is keeping themselves close together, as tight-knit as they can, so they can react to the fights that go down. The first goes down. And now in the 5 versus 2, they know Freezer's started to fall. They can hear the breach on the back end of the stairs. Rogue, they've got 30 seconds. They're going to see if they can make sure every second counts. Renshiro just has to get lucky. Gets 1, gets dropped in the trade, the pickup. It is just down to Playday, the clutch king, with his toughest clutch yet. The kid is cold, 15 seconds. There's pressure around on the backside. There's the next, there's the next! Playday, 1 kill away! They don't have the kit, they've only got 8 seconds. They rotate round on the far side. He's gonna get in with a shotgun, and what has he gotta say? Not today!
Playday gets the clutch. It was a 4v5 from the start. It turned into a 1v3 in the end. And he cleans them up 1 by 1 and keeps BDS in it. No 5-1 lead for Rogue by Playday there. There's nothing we can say about that.
It's the thing. For a lot of people, that's a play of their life. For Playday,
it's just another one of the books.
Just another Monday.
It is. He's been making so many clutches over his career, and this is just another one to add to the stats. It's not going to be his first, not going to be his last. And Rogue, they lose a potential very valuable round there, as they're now onto the defense themselves, needing 3 to lock this game off and find 3 points. Secure themselves in first place for today. What they're looking forward to. But BDS is trying to do the same, of course, trying to still win this game.
They are missing a little bit from the guns on their side for all the highlighting that we can give to the guns of BDS. They haven't quite been able to hit as hard as Rogues as of yet, but now they get the chance to. On their attack, leading in, Spoit with the pre-fires, trying to find a route out. Liquefact was almost close there on the tail. He tucks himself in to make sure he isn't suddenly surprised by the dangers of anyone coming behind him. The Valcam caught out too. Spoit is at this point sort of long gone. He knows not to overstay a welcome.
Yeah, Liquefact also knows that it's unwise to challenge and chase in such a situation where the rest of his teammates are unable to really provide him any backup at that moment. Deepak is hovering around with the yokai though. Spots out that the laundry staircase is currently clean. Kanto does go down to a grenade, so might still be able to be recovered here as Rogue is still looking to protect that top floor and hold it under tight control. Oh, someone above you. And someone right next to you, Crying. He finds that kill. Somehow, the Attic player is still about. Has he dropped?
Kanto has gone down and been picked up there, and well, now he's dropped right in front of Crying. They were able to at least get one out of it, though. They really shouldn't have been able to get the pure surprise on Liquefact, but I think Liquefact was just as surprised. Crying rotates, finds his route elsewhere. It's always worth remembering the side itself is down on here, the basement. There's still a lot of utility to try and fight your way through. Leon has 2 canisters of his own. Pockets full of impact, and then the Echo drones too. It's dangerous down there, but Spoit and Crying have both suffered shoulders full of damage from these earlier engagements. It means there's also a much bigger risk to be caught out by any of the sort of spray through and rotates on tight angles which Oregon Basement is built on.
Or just one of those grenades that rolls just a meter too far to pick you up. And as they split out these Yoko drones on BDS, they are aware of the fact that they either need to deal with Deepak or get rid of these drones. It seems like Deepak is well aware, though, where these drops will start coming from. Also knows that one is going to be coming from the top of main stairs, and that basically tells Rogue all they need to know about the push and where it's coming down from. Leon, aggressive around the elbows, looking to shut one down. The grenade bounced around the corner. That is going to be making him aware of the fact that someone's trying to push in.
Trying to hold on with the smoke canisters, swings into the fight, but Renchiro swings harder. Now he drives himself through onto the breach. The whole Breday's tucked. He's ready to try and put a plant down, and they catch out. Spoiler was tucked on a gamble corner. Now they're holding off. Deepak, he's got the Echo drones. He's just going to try and rotate one back into position via the feet of the player that's there. Will he make it in time? Crying takes the header for one. The Echo drone is able to stop the plant on the next. They are just able to catch it out. He's rotating around. The cover comes through. The impact onto one. He's hoping the angle was there. The spray comes through. It's just too late. He cannot quite find the fight there onto the scrappiness of E-Box themselves. Tucked and tapped through the wall itself. The soft does a little bit of extra damage to Alems. He's not quite sure where he's gone. Both of them are dancing. Oh, he's down through the wall. Does he know? He does now.
He's just going to be closing that one off casually there. Deepak, as he comes in with another clutch. You see the smiles all on the face cams there. That's 2-5 for Rogue. That is the round under control. And eventually still locked off, but it got quite close in the end there. Just too late with the swing on the planter, but at least found the kill, brought it back to a 1v1. And now 2 more rounds necessary for Rogue to find 3 points. The top floor is up next.
Damn, he's good with a drone.
Deepak was drone equals death. I mean, we saw the signs in Berlin.
I mean, if we can talk about things proving rules today, that is definitely one of them. There, obviously, the drive from Crying, being able to get the take onto Shaiko as well before he dropped there. Massive. It drew out the focus, the fire of the next. What was the time?
It was literally on the moment it went down.
Yep.
It's a take on the server. This was a very scrappy gunfight, though, but probably saw the foot or the ankle just walking through the bottom of his scope housing.
Hello.
Then, it's like, hello.
What's hello in Dutch?
Hello.
Oh, well.
It's got quite the same.
Hello.
If you want to make a more fancy word, it's goedendag.
Goedendag.
Yeah, that was the worst. Easy, you got any other ones? I know you're listening.
I wouldn't repeat anything Easy told me to say on a broadcast. I wouldn't trust him to not make me accidentally swear in Dutch.
There's only a couple of people that would understand, so you would be fine.
All right. All right. Rogue, 5-2, but it was only just. And, you know, BDS always have that expectation. Your first attack is always going to be one of your toughest because it's the site that they feel the most confident on, usually. There's a bad start, though. Liquefac removed by Kanto. I'm not sure if that was just over the top, the fight, whether it was from one of the small tower windows, you assume.
Small tower door. Like, from the window to the door, which you open up on the big tower.
Oof.
Yeah, that's painful. Wanted to provide some support to LMs and got his life taken away from him. And that's one of those big gunners as well from BDS who hasn't really been able to show up. Yeah, just like Shaika. We said it before, they average roughly about 12 plus. No! Leon finds one, goes aggressive, finds a second one. As Shaika found a kill with a grenade, but is not allowed to last more than that.
Oh, Leon should not have won the first. The second, the fact that, you know, Spoik got caught by Shaiko in the mix, sure, but still. 4 versus 2, and Rogue have an energy that they've sort of missed at points. This time, not so much. LMs and Renshiro, 2 of the old guns of this game, are going to see if they can try and teach some of the same old guns some tricks here, locked in. We've got to see if they can steady themselves across Attic. They've droned a bit of a lead in. There's still the player at the bottom of White Stairs. The rest aren't overextending. They know that they've lost positions where they should have been able to win them before. Take there. Lem's able to find Deepak. I think that was a swing onto Attic.
Yeah, must have been. He was holding the angle earlier. I think Deepak just tried to fall back a little bit deeper into the bedroom there and got himself punished for it. But at least they know someone is coming from the attic now, and the other player is starting to come in from the trophy side of things. So it's, again, very one-dimensional here for BDS. They're both coming from a similar kind of angle. All the guns can be aimed at the very same direction, and these keeper barriers are going to be helping Leon Gids to really set themselves up well. Here he comes, Alems.
I mean, that's it. He's got himself tucked in. It's still a very awkward distance to try and cover here. It's been reinforced and relocked up, so they got to just try and strong-arm themselves past in his army barricade. There's actually being shot over. There it is, swung into the fight of the grenade. Now in different locations, really overextending. Crying suffers because of it, but 30 seconds and a cold kit. Alems. Well, he has a gun with a lot of bullets in it, but that's kind of it. Leon takes it out, puts them onto map point. 4 chances here for Rogue to lock it off.
And it could have been locked off earlier. Cannot forget that. But they seem to be in good spirits. There is a confidence hanging over the team like we have seen in the latter maps of the grand final that we saw in Berlin. And as soon as that confidence start filling the team, there's no stopping them anymore. They'll just swing every single thing they can for any given excuse they can possibly make up. And they'll get away with it. They find the kills. They come out on top. And it's just difficult to stop Rogue when they're on their highs. Example 1, Leon Gids finding 1 kill, then realizing, oh, I hear a grenade pin to be pulled. Let me just quickly swing onto Shaiko as well before he does any more damage than he already did. That's just 2 kills taken out for just, well, unfortunately losing 1 by a grenade. And that's not helping BDS at all. Again, Shaiko, 4 kills. Liquefac, 4. These 2 players, they usually step up huge for the team. And right now, it's Playday, and partially due to that 1v4 clutch he managed to put on the board earlier. That is only one of the 2 rounds that BDS has won.
5 seconds to go.
So Rogue completely in control of this game.
Can they push it over the line, though? That's that last little step that the team has to take, because it's not that BDS, for my money, have been entirely washed over. As strange as that is to say in a game that could be over as a 7-1 already, there's still these moments where you have these fights from BDS, but they just have been one step a little bit behind there. They're missing Liquefac and Shaiko. There's no 2 ways about it. We can talk about their KD and the game's up and how important it was. It is, and always will be, important to a roster to have your players performing at their best. When they're not, you'll miss them. There's no 2 ways about that. And when you're seeing Crying on a 12-4, well, that's what you're missing.
That's definitely something you're missing. And you can afford one of them to be off during games against the lower half of the teams, but when you're up against the top teams of the league, you really need both your players to be on point, able to reply at any given moment to ensure yourselves a good chance of fighting, because right now BDS, well, again, it could be quite more close than it currently is, but Rogue's still walking away with this one, and especially these last 2 rounds seem to be doing quite well for them.
BDS, they're going for a much tighter bit of control here. There's only really Likefak on the far end, and he's not playing the sneaky game he did before. Instead, they're sort of trying to brute force their way across the board. Yeah, a silenced FO12.
There's no reason not to now.
I mean, it's a cool sound. I do miss the bang, 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 but still make it connect just as well. Shaiko, he's going to tuck himself here towards the window and sort of put pressure on anyone else to swing out. He was hoping the shotgun was still positioned there. The pocket EMP is ready to try and pop off. They're missing the first. The second does connect here. They're just going to get this popped off in time. I don't think there's anyone to try and catch it out. Oh, there it is.
I was going to say, I think they just tossed a second. I saw Deepak walking back, so he took care of that exothermic, and now they really need to go for a bit of a push here, and Leon gets his lap one pass. They might have a false sense of security, but Lems still finds that killer's verticality now strikes.
Pre-firing their way around the corner, they suffer. They're just going to try and brute force their way in, and Krine's able to take out Renshiro on the stage itself. Bride still has the kit, but now they've got the wall openable. Kanto gets a Lems. In the meantime, Shaiko is able to find Deepak. Suffered on the far end. In fact, no, it was Likefak that was able to make that connection here, and now they've tucked themselves in towards the site itself. The most important part of that was breaching open stage. So although they've got kitchen control, they can see if they can try and get a plant down on the far end. They're still holding it from above, though. This is the big part of this. And that's why they've sort of changed tack. Spoit is the back end. He might be able to find just the planter. There's the reveal, the play, and there's the strike. There's a cold kit tucked around in a corner. Pre-fires the soft and goes for the pistol. Finds it. Shaiko strike. There is Spoit! A double with the pistol on the tip of a triple, and Rogue find a 7-3.
That's not just a pistol, Emmy, that's a Desert Eagle. That has a kick to it. That is not a P9 it can just spam at head level and will find easy headshots with. But Spoit does it either way, finds the 2 kills, and that's a full 3-pointer for Rogue here. Even though they had a rough start to the stage, they find themselves at the top of the table today.
You cannot argue with